As much as I have been a student of success, I have also been a skeptic. For many years, I read and studied and listened, and I wondered, if there are so many keys to success, why aren't they working? Why are there shelves full of self-help bestsellers? It seems to me that if books were working as they ought to work, we wouldn't keep needing new ones. If there are so many answers to our questions about what to do to make life better, why have so many people failed at making these great ideas work? Or if they work for a time, what makes them stop working? Have you ever attended a prep rally or a meeting in which someone gave a rousing motivational speech? Why didn't it last? Have you ever been inspired to change, to achieve, and then stopped? Where did the inspiration go? The problem is not with the books. The problem is not with the seminars or with the motivational talks. There are a lot of self-help ideas and techniques that are good, great even. They should work and they could work, but they don't work or they don't keep working because of something that all of us have and very much overlook. And that is not how the human man brain works. The human brain, that incredibly powerful personal computer control center that each of us has, is capable of doing for you anything reasonable that you'd like it to. But you do have to know how to treat it. If you treat it just right and carefully give it the right directions, it will do the right thing. It will work for you in the right way. But if you give your mental computer the wrong directions, it will act on those wrong directions. It will continue to respond to the negative programming that you and the rest of the world have been giving it without being aware of it. Especially in today's age when we lose not 1, 2, 3, even 5 hours to scrolling, we're unconsciously allowing our subconscious, our operating system, to be programmed with nothing. Let me give you an example of some of the negative programming most of us have received. During the first 18 years of our lives, if we grew up in a fairly average, reasonable, positive home, we were told no, or what we could not do, more than 148,000 times. If you were a little more fortunate, you may have been told no only 100,000 times or 50,000 times. However many, it was considerably more negative programming than any of us needs. The yeses were received simply didn't balance out to the no's. The occasional words of belief were just that, occasional, and they were far outweighed by our daily doses of cannots. The negative programming that we all received and still receive consciously, willingly, through our portals that we spend hours on, has come to us quite unintentionally. It has come to us from our parents who wanted to protect us. It has come to us from our brothers and sisters, from our teachers, our schoolmates, our associates at work, our life mates, advertising of all kinds. Leading behavioral researchers have told us that as much as 70% of everything we think is negative, counterproductive, and works against us. At the same time, medical researchers have said that as much as 75% of all illnesses are self-induced. It's no wonder. What if the researchers are correct? That means as much as 75% or more of our programming is the wrong kind. Until very recently, no one understood well enough the human mind, how it really works. The result was that without knowing what they were doing and with us not recognizing the immense effect this casual programming was having on us, they have been programming us in the wrong way. Everything and everyone around us, without being aware of it, has been programming us, me and you. Unfortunately, most of it was the wrong kind of programming, and we took it to heart, to our subconscious, to our operating system. Year after year, word for word, our life scripts were etched. carved into our operating system, layer by layer, like an onion. Nearly permanent, our self-images were created. In time, we ourselves joined in. We began to believe that what we were being told by others and what we were telling ourselves was true. No matter how innocently given or subtly implied, we began hearing the same words and thoughts repeatedly. Hundreds, even thousands of times we were told, or we told ourselves, what we could do, what we could not do, could not accomplish. Repetition is a convincing argument. Eventually, we believe what others told us and what we told ourselves most. We began to live out the picture of ourselves we had created in our minds, our image makers, our imagination. In time, we became what we most believed about ourselves. And in so doing, we created a wall, which for most of us will stand invisibly, but powerfully between us and our unlimited futures for as long as our old programming remains in force, remains operating. Unless the programming we received is erased or replaced with different programming, it will stay with us permanently and affect and direct everything we do for the rest of our lives. Now, I was quite young when I first heard the biblical passage which reads, "As a man thinketh, so is he." I recall shaking my head thinking that could not be. How could we possibly be what we think? After all, isn't our physical self one thing and our private thought another? Little did I, or most of us then, understand that biblical passage had hit the nail of the truth squarely on the head. Modern day neuroscientists, how scientifically correct that biblical passage is. In the last 2 decades, we have learned more about the workings of the human brain than was known throughout all history. We now know that by an incredibly complex physiological mechanism, a joint effort of body, brain, and mind, we become the living result of our own thoughts. Through scientific discovery, we have proved the relationship between our own mental programming and the matter of whether we will succeed or fail in any endeavor we undertake in life. From something as important as lifetime goals to something as small and trivial as what we do in a single day. Have you ever considered just how much of what you know, how you act, how successful you are, is dependent on the conditioning you unknowingly bought and kept giving yourself? It is virtually impossible for any of us to do anything, no matter how insignificant, without being affected by our conditioning. Every step you take, move you make, or word you say is affected. Think about somebody's fashion in which they choose their clothing, whether it's fitted, loose, or baggy. The way people pronounce certain words. Do they say it with a slur or do they say it very proper? It follows that if every action you take of any kind is affected by prior programming, then the end results of your actions are equally affected. How successful you will be at anything is exactly tied to the words and beliefs about yourself that you have stored in your subconscious mind, which is 90 to 95% of who it is you are. And what is stored there for most of us was decided for us by someone else. Think for a moment what you might do differently tomorrow if you were someone else, someone whose programming was different from yours. Or what might you do differently if you had been brought up with a completely different, more positive set of attitudes and beliefs and feelings, which in every case would assure you of having an abundance of self-belief, enthusiasm, and achievement?